Welcome to Algebra 1 for Wednesday, November the 20th. Our objective today is to factor a polynomial. We will review the basic parts you must know to do that, such as finding a greatest common factor and finding a missing term that is required to multiply to get an item you need to factor out. Put in order of descending powers of x. For example, if you had this, you identify your descending powers of x. And in this case, we have the largest one being this one, including the sign in front of it. So you would have to put negative x to the third. And then the next one is x squared. That sign is plus x squared y to the fourth. And then you go down from there, x to the first. Put in order of descending powers of x. X to the fifth is here, x to the fourth is there, and this has no x at all. So the first term here would go first, x to the fifth, y to the third, plus x to the fourth, y to the third, and then plus y to the second. Descending powers of x. The largest power of x in here is x to the second. The next one down is x to the first. This one has no x in it at all. So it would be 2x to the second plus 3xy and then minus y squared. This one, descending powers of x, the largest one is this one, then the next one, and then this one. So you would have negative 3x to the third minus 6x squared and then plus 4x. For this one, when you multiply variables, you add the exponents if the variable is the same. We start with x to the fourth. We finish with x to the 11th. We have to multiply by an x that has some power in there that's going to make this true. 4 plus what is 11? 7, so the answer is x to the 7th. In this case, we have to multiply by an x to some power that's going to make this true. So x to the third plus what is x to the fourth? So I write this, right? No. What do I write? X. Yes. If you put this, it is wrong. You do not write 1 as an exponent on an x. It is not the proper form. In this case, what would the answer be? X squared. X squared. Now in this case we have to multiply by two things multiplied together that's going to go from here to there. So we're going to have an x and a y, perhaps. 2 plus what is 6, and 3 plus what is 7. 4, so it's x to the fourth, y to the fourth. This comes in handy when you're going backwards, when you're factoring out. You find your greatest common factor, and then you have to see what you multiply by to make it a true statement, getting back to the original polynomial. In this case, x and then y, 5 plus something is 7. 2, and y plus something is 2. No, 1 plus 2 is 3. It's 1. Just 1, so the final answer is x to the second, y. You can put an exponent of 1 in your work. You cannot put it in your final answer. In this case, 6 plus something is 10. 4 and 11 plus something is 14. X to the fourth, y to the third. 3 times something is 21. 7, and then 2 plus something is 6. 4, so it should be 7x to the fourth. 5 times something is 20. 4, and then 6 plus something is 10. 4x to the fourth is the answer. Negative 6 times something is 18. Negative 3, and then 3 plus something is 6. And 4 plus something is 5. 1, so negative 3x to the third y. That's the end of the review. Here's the example. You have to find the greatest common factor, the objective we had the last test over. The highest number that comes out of 6 and 24 is what? 8. What's the lowest power of x in there?
X2.
X to the second. And then what is the lowest power of y?
Y to the third.
Y to the third. Now we go back and practice what we just reviewed. What do I multiply 8 by to get 16? 2. And then 2 plus something is 3. X to the first. 3 plus something is 6. 8 times what is 24? 3. 2 plus something is 2. What is that? There's a number.
1.
2 plus 1 is 3. 2 plus what is 2? Not 2. It is 0. Yes, so if it is 0, there is such a thing as x to the 0 or y to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is just 1. So in other words, x to the second times something is x to the second, and that something is 1. So you don't put anything. Negative 25x to the sixth, y to the fourth, minus 30x to the third, y to the second. What is the greatest common factor for this polynomial?
5.
No, it's wrong right off the get-go. Why do I know it's wrong even though from what you just said? Has to be negative y.
Because the first number is negative.
The first number is negative, yes. So now we know that it's going to be negative. What is the greatest number that comes out of these two items?
Negative 5.
Negative 5, yes. What is the lowest power of x in that expression?
X to the third.
X to the third. What is the lowest power of y?
Y to the second.
Y to the second. Now we have to fill in the parentheses. If your opening item here is negative, then what happens to the sign in the middle? Changes to what?
Positive.
Positive. We can go ahead and do that. This first term here started out as negative. Since we took out a negative, its sign will change also, so this will just be a positive here on the first item. Negative 5 times something is negative 25. It is 5. X to the third times something is x to the sixth. Not 3.
2.
Remember, you got to listen to the question. X to the third times something is x to the sixth. It's not 3 because that would give me 3x to the third. We're just catching up with the recording now. We've made it to 5x to the third, y to the second plus 6, and now to go from x to the third to x to the third, it is x to the 0, but what is x to the 0 power? 1. Do we have to write the 1?
No.
No. Why? There's already something there, yes. So we move on to the y term. Y to the second times something is y to the second.
X0.
It's not x0, it's y to the second times something equals y to the second. So now we go to the final answer, which is negative 5x to the third, y to the second times the quantity 5x to the third, y to the second, plus 6. On this practice problem, the greatest common factor that comes out is going to be 7x. If you don't have that, then it's off from the get-go. What you must have inside the parentheses to go backwards to make that polynomial to be true is 2x plus 5x squared plus 4. If you left your answer like that, it is wrong. Why is that?
Because it's not in the same powers of x.
Right, so you have to have 7x times the quantity 5x squared plus 2x plus 4. The greatest common factor that will come out of this expression is going to be 16x squared y. 16 times 1 is 16. Do I write anything?
Yeah.
No. At least not yet. X squared times 1 is x squared. Do I write 1 now?
No.
No. Y times 1 is y. Do I write a 1 now?
Yes.
Yes, because I have nothing else. Now we go with minus 16 times 2 is 32. X to the second times x is x to the third, and y times y to the third is y to the fourth. That's my final answer, right? No, I have to put it in descending powers of x. So x to the second, or 16x to the second y, times the quantity negative 2x y to the third plus 1.